Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of our Disney favorite attractions video. If you didn't catch part 1 from last week, we go over our top 2 and our least favorite in Magic Kingdom and Epcot. We'll link that video below. Today we're picking up where we left off and we're going to go through everything we love and some things we don't love in Hollywood Studios and in Animal Kingdom. So without further ado, here's the rest of the video.
When we were in Hollywood Studios, some of the attractions that I absolutely love that we have to do, number one would be Toy Story Midway Mania. If you go back and watch that first video that we talked about favorite attractions, and mine was Toy Story Midway Mania. It's just fun. You know, I think the queue is fun. I'm interested to see what Toy Story Land does to the experience on this ride.
Oh, yeah.
I think the queue is fun and good and does a good job of making you feel like you're in Andy's room. The ride, I don't really feel that. But let's just be honest. It's a shooting game. It's like a gallery. You feel like you're in an arcade. So there's like a nostalgic piece there.
You always win, too.
I always win, so that helps.
Might have something to do with
it. Wouldn't be my favorite if I always lost. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's true. Like at Space Rangers.
But even if you don't love the shooting... we went the Space Ranger spin route.
We did. I beat him 3 times in a row. Okay, go ahead.
So even if you're not into the shooting games and stuff, let's be honest, it's just a fun ride. Just like in the car, spinning around, you know, it's a lot of fun. I think it's a great creative use of the space, and it's a cool way to get into the story of Toy Story. And so I'm excited to see what Toy Story Land does to the experience in that ride as well.
Yep, so then your number 2. This one surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, my number 2, Launch Bay Theater. But it's just totally random. Like, I know a lot of people don't love it.
Or
I
don't even go to it.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people even go to it.
Yeah.
When we were there was like 5 other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Launch Bay as a whole. So like you get to meet, you know, the characters BB-8, Kylo Ren, Chewie. You get to see some like movie relics, which is really cool. But the Launch Bay Theater was awesome because you got to hear some of the people who are behind Star Wars and Star Wars Land. I love the continuity element of it. Like they talked with that
really
team.
Cool.
Yeah, the team that is responsible for making sure that all of the trilogies and the anthology movies and the novels and the comics and the cartoons and now even Batu and Black Spire Outpost and like all of that, making sure that tells the same story. I thought it was really cool to see all that and to see how they bring that into the Disney parks, both in current endeavors and some of the characters and stuff that are in the park now, and in future, especially with Galaxy's Edge and the hotel. And so really, really excited about everything that's happening there. And at Launch Bay is a really cool place to see some of that coming to light. Keisha, what about you? What are your favorites in Hollywood Studios?
You guys know there's not a ton to choose from at this moment, but even with that being so, this would always be my favorite in this park, and that is the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror.
Yes.
I am not a huge free fall person, but as you guys can tell in our videos, you probably think we live at this attraction when we're in Hollywood Studios. It's mostly because it's true. We ride it every single time we're there. We can't. Getting a fast pass for it is relatively easy outside of really, really like busy weeks.
Yeah.
It seems pretty easy to do. So that's nice, but like the theming is awesome.
Yeah.
Like very, very immersive from the very beginning, like through the garden, all the way in.
Let's give a shout out to those cast members.
Yes,
they always do great.
The cast members are amazing.
Yeah.
They're always super into their character, and they stay with it the entire time. But the story that you're told throughout the queue, all the way into before you get into like the free fall. Like, I guess it's called like a chamber, I don't know, at the very end there. And then the fact that it's different every time.
Yeah.
So you're surprised every time at the end. How many times are we going to drop? Are the doors going to be open or closed? So can you see out or not?
Yeah.
How many times are we going to drop? From how far? It's great. It's a really, really fun time.
Yeah.
I love it.
What's your number 2?
Number 2 would be Star Tours. The adventure continues. So Star Tours, it seems like they've changed it just a little bit, I think, to try to add in some of the filming and some of the things from the new trilogy, from the anthologies, from the things that are coming as far as Galaxy's Edge and stuff goes. Ending in Batu, all those things. So it doesn't seem like there's as many different options when you go in, because it used to be, I think, one of like 16 different films could play. But even so, it's always still fun. But it can be a little stuffy in there. People are a little bit sweaty. It can kind of be like a little smelly sometimes in that closed-in room. But honestly, my very favorite thing is when you're queued up in your row before the doors open, and the safety video is telling you to put your Ewok in the in the containers below your chair so it doesn't go anywhere. That's my favorite part of the whole attraction.
Yeah,
I
Keisha
love
loves
it so much.
Ewoks.
I do, and it's the cutest part of the video. It's the cutest part of the whole ride. So I love it. If we're with someone in line, I'm like, shh, I gotta hear this part. So it's great. So I love Star Tours. What are your two favorites?
Well, I've already told my favorites.
Oh, you
it's
did.
It's time for the least favorites.
Least favorites.
Yeah, and so this is a little bit bittersweet for me because I have to say this. My least favorite is Muppet Vision 3D. And you have to know that I love the Muppets.
Yeah, that's very surprising.
I know, like, I grew up loving the Muppets. My favorite Christmas movie is A Muppet Christmas Carol. Like, I love the Muppets. They don't deserve that. Like, let's be honest. Like, what is Waldo? Like, really?
Is he a bee? I think he's a bee.
He's like a blue imagination bee or something.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't really know.
No.
The Muppets deserve better. I think Hollywood Studios is the right place for the Muppets. They definitely belong. But I really do think that something much better could be done with that IP. And I hope that that's down the road. Obviously, there's a lot happening right now. But the video is like a little dated. The technology is kind of outdated. At this point, people have been seeing that video in the parks for like 20 years or something crazy like that. So it's just tired. And I think the Muppets deserve better. And I hope that the time is coming soon that they will get something better. What about you?
So my least favorite is going to be Rock and Roller Coaster. So again, with the motion sickness, so all the upside down doesn't help. I know it's a really cool thrill ride, and I think it should be there. I think it definitely serves a purpose. I know tons of people love it, but for me personally, it's one that I skip out on because if I don't want to feel queasy all day, I'll kind of stay off to somewhere different. But I also think like maybe it could be rethemed because I'm not quite sure how relevant Aerosmith is.
Yeah.
I get the relevancy to Hollywood, but I'm not sure I get the relevancy to the general public that is now attending the parks.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Not my favorite. I skip it.
Maybe it should be like Rock and Roller Coaster starring Maroon 5.
Stop it. And Adam Levine is like striking a pose with a different color hair, like at every road sign. I don't know. So that's my least favorite. Most people won't agree with that, but it's personal.
It's a fun ride. It's just like,
So this brings us to our last park and collectively our favorite park. I know Hollywood.
Of course, it's my favorite.
Well, yeah, everything's your favorite. But Hollywood Studios is your favorite park.
Yeah.
But collectively,
Yeah.
If
we've got one day in Orlando, we're going to Animal Kingdom.
We're going to Animal Kingdom. Yeah. So it was really hard for us to pick just top two for both of us, and even to put almost anything on the least favorite list.
Yeah.
So we've got an honorable mention that we'll bring up.
Let's give the honorable mention first. I think that's fair.
No, let's save it.
Okay,
let's save it. All right. So Matt, what are your top two favorite attractions?
All right. So my number one is going to be Expedition Everest. I think it's really, really cool how the line queue is. You feel like you're with Joe Rohde somewhere, like on one of his random adventures that he goes on.
Yeah.
You can definitely feel like his footprints and his hands were on everything in that queue. That's really cool. The roller coaster itself is such a unique experience. There's nothing like it.
We were recently on it with someone who had never ridden it before.
Yeah.
And they were completely shocked and came off. They were super excited, but absolutely like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How it didn't get spoiled for them before they got on it, I don't know. But it was really cool seeing their reaction.
Definitely. Who doesn't love Disco Yeti? And then on top of all that, I have a hairband that lives up at the top. As a relic. I've been to the top of Everest, and so I have a hairband that lives up there. And we're excited to go back next week and see if we can still see it.
Yeah, so what's your second one?
The second one is going to be, my second favorite in Animal Kingdom is going to be Dinosaur. I grew up a dinosaur fan, so it's really cool to see some of those names, the familiar names of dinosaurs that you can call out. It's fun. It's just fun. Like, really, really fun. We recently learned that the front row is a lot different than the back row.
Yes.
If you're in that second row, it's like, oh, it's fun. You're bouncing around, whatever. The first row, you're like getting whiplash. Like, it's a totally different experience.
Rough.
Yeah, the front row, but still super fun. Yeah. I love Dinosaur. I hate if we don't get the opportunity to ride it. I'm a little disappointed because it's one of the funnest rides to me in all of Disney World. I always leave with a smile. What about you?
Cool. So my first one is very obvious. It's Flight of Passage.
Yeah,
and
for
of
sure.
course, this is like everyone's favorite right now, nearly, and arguably like the best ride Disney has ever done.
Yeah.
So it's immersive, but I think even more impressive than what you feel and what you see in front of you is if you've ever ridden it, and I don't suggest this for your first ride, but if you ride it more than one time, is to look behind you.
Yeah.
All of the things that they've done to get like your body and what you see in front of you to feel like you're really going through it is what's going on behind you.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's pretty impressive.
It is absolutely impressive. So anyways, so I think it's really fantastic. It has a lot of re-rideability.
Yep.
We recently took my parents on it for the very first time, and they thought it was even just like relaxing. They loved it. They're like, let's do it again, and we wound up doing it more than once that day. But it's just awesome.
Yeah.
It's very imaginative.
Definitely.
I think it is Disney Imagineering, like kind of at its finest in terms of technology.
Yeah.
So.
What about number 2?
My number 2 is going to be Kilimanjaro Safaris. So. This is Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
The reason you go is to see the animals. If we could only do one attraction at Animal Kingdom, it would be that one. I know it's the same every time, and if you've done it enough times, you can kind of quote back kind of what they're going to say about the animals.
Or what they're going to say if there's no animals.
Or if there's no animals. But, like, it's seeing what the park is all about. And the animals are different every time. They're doing different things.
Yeah.
Every time you get a different view. Every time they're unpredictable. And I think it's really wonderful. Our suggestion is going toward the beginning of the day before it really gets too hot. But we've also done the night safari, and it was pretty interesting itself. I would probably do that again as well. So we love Kilimanjaro safaris. So what are your top 2? I always say that. You've already done your top 2.
Yeah,
I just want to
okay.
keep hearing about favorites.
I know.
I
I
want to
can
hear
come up with
all,
more favorites for sure.
all good things. So what is your least favorite?
Yeah, this one comes with a story. My least favorite on all of Disney property.
I knew this, and this is an actual least favorite.
is Primeval World.
Yes.
So the first time that we went as adults, I was riding the ride not unreasonable with my hands up. Like I wasn't straight up. I was like this. And if you've paid attention on videos, like I'm a sizable person. Like I'm not a little guy. And so I had my hands up like this, and I smacked my hand on a crossbeam, just like totally out of the blue. It didn't like do any damage. We didn't even tell anybody about it.
Yeah.
But I was like, if I was close enough for my hand like this to smack, like I don't want my head anywhere near that. I could lose a hat, or worse, lose my head.
That's what you're most concerned about. I could lose a hat.
I don't want to lose a hat, but I could also lose my head. And so I just don't like Primeval World. It's kind of lame anyway. But it's also like comes with the risk of damage for people my size. What about you? What's your least favorite Animal Kingdom?
So my least favorite Animal Kingdom is Cali River Rapids. I just don't like to get wet when I'm in the park. It doesn't matter how hot it is. I just don't like to walk around wet.
Yeah,
I don't like
that's fair.
Wet shirt, wet shoes, wet shorts, and I can tell you there's no poncho out there that is going to cover me enough.
Not even a $15 Disney poncho.
Yeah, cover me enough to make it worth it. So, we might ride it, like if we're headed out, like it's our last thing of the day, and we're headed right back to the hotel, so I don't have to walk around in soggy shoes for hours. But most time, I skip it.
Yeah, it's a fun ride. It just is. Nobody wants to be wet in the park.
No, nobody. Alright, so then the last thing is our honorable mention. It was really hard not to put this on the list. And these are the trails around Animal Kingdom. So they have several different ones. They have the Oasis trails that are at the very beginning right after the turnstiles, before you kind of make it up that hill.
Yeah.
There are animals and things all around that area that you can go and see. There's the Discovery Island trails around the Tree of Life. There are the I can't say it.
I don't know how to say it.
Maraha Jungle Trek. Those have like the tigers and the bats, and those are over in Asia. And then the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trails. I'm really struggling. Over in Africa, that has like the gorillas and everything there. And I think that it's great for a couple of reasons. One is the animals, and it's animals that you don't see on safari. So there's that. There's also that they're mostly shaded. So that's awesome. On a hot day, you can get yourself like 20 degrees cooler in the shade on a hot day, and you do it at your own pace. So if you kind of want to just get through there really quickly, you can. If you want to take your time, you got an hour before your lunch reservation or whatever, you just want to chill out a little bit. Those are some great things to do. And if you have kids, the animals are usually pretty active even throughout like the entire day on those trails, and there's lots of wilderness explorer stops around the way, so it's a fun thing, especially for little ones that maybe maybe can't participate in all the other things that you're doing at Animal Kingdom, that's definitely something that they can have fun with. And I think when you're on those trails, you just feel what the heart of that park really is. So we had to put it in the video.
Absolutely. We love
Yeah,
it.
had to go in. So we hope that you enjoyed this video. We hope that we gave you some things to think about. You might agree with us on some of it. You might have been like yelling at your screen telling us, no, you're wrong on some of the stuff. And if so, that's awesome. We want to hear about all of it in the comments.
Just not with the thumbs down.
Yeah.
Don't do the thumbs down.
Please. No, I'm just kidding. You can do thumbs down if that's how you really feel. We don't mind.
No, don't do it.
We don't mind.
Don't do it.
So in the comments, let us know like what your must-dos are, what your top 2 is in each park. Let us know kind of the things that you don't love. We love to hear what you guys think about the parks, because since we get to tell you kind of up front what ours are.
Yeah.
So Matt, tell them about how they can connect with us.
Yeah, make sure you guys follow us on Instagram. That's just going to be at Bayer Necessities. We post a lot of great content there, especially when we're in the parks. We get to post Insta stories and things like that. We also, a couple weeks ago, we got to post a really cool picture that like went viral, so that was awesome.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram though. When we're in the parks, we'll post stuff, but then also when we're at home, we try to post some cool content as well. You'll probably see a lot of Disney Funko Pops and stuff like that in those posts. Make sure you guys like this video and comment down below, like Keisha said, with some of your things that you might disagree or agree about with our content today. And make sure you guys subscribe to the channel so the bare necessities of life will come to you. We'll see you guys in the parks.
Bye.